The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series, Pride of Augusta, is presented by Lowrance.
Hey, take a look at it right there. It's go time. Final championship day for the 5th stop of the year, the 2006 Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series. We're coming to you from Columbia County, Georgia, near the town of Augusta, Georgia. The venue is Clarks Hill Lake. The tournament is the Pride of Augusta, Clarks Hill Lake, the largest man-made reservoir east of the Mississippi. A lot of places to catch bass, a lot of action on the way today. Tommy Sanders here with Mark Zona. Mark Zona, we got a lot of ways to catch these fish this time.
Well, the one way in particular, probably the coolest way to bass fish. It is topwater time, and we are on the best topwater lake probably in the country, Tommy. And you know what? Our Angler of the Year is heating up right now.
Yep.
We got Ike Anelli, John Cruz, Kevin Wirth. They all made the Elite 12, fighting for $125,000 at the end of the year. It's heating up right now.
$600,000 total for Angler of the Year.
Absolutely.
Talk about big money stuff. We got one coming up in 2 weeks, the very first major of the year for the Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series, the Bassmaster Memorial. It's going to take place on Eagle Mountain Lake in Fort Worth, Texas. Our field is set for this very first major of the year. The guys have been striving to get into this field and get after that big money, $250,000 for the first place winner. We got some pre-qualifiers like Kevin Van Dam and Aaron Martins. There you see the top 10 list led by Denny Brower. Alton Jones, the number 10 man on that list. Greg Hackney leading the guys who qualified the combined standings from 04, 05, and this year as well, 06. So these guys have been working out there to get into this major. A lot of excitement out there, but we got a big tournament today. And Davy Hite, the man with the lead, as we look at our leaderboard, Davy Hite with 6 pounds over Kenyon Hill. I think he's in trouble. What do you think?
Well, you know, Davy would have to fumble the football to lose this event, but there are a few guys that are right behind him. Kenyon Hill, Jason Quinn, they can catch him.
All right, Jerry McInnes, we've decided Davy Hite doesn't stand a chance with that 6-pound lead today.
You guys are both full of beans. There's nobody going to catch Davy Hite here. Look at it. Look at the history, Davy. Every time you get a big league, Detroit, Red River, Dardanelle, you wipe them out. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel really great about it. But, you know, it's a tournament, and there's great fishermen here. There's 11 fishermen that are really good here. And, you know, I've been behind before going into events like this and honestly thought that I could win the thing. So I know there's 11 guys behind me that think the same thing.
He's just being politically correct, you guys. Hey, and on top of everything else, he has a lure and a technique that's kind of, well, I don't even know what it is yet. We're gonna all experience that at the same time. Do you guys have any question for our winner here today?
Not so bad.
Davey, you got a good lead right now, but if you're sitting there and you're looking over your shoulder, who is the one guy right now behind you that you could say, wow, he may catch me?
Well, obviously, the second place guy, he's closest to me. But, you know, all 11 are great fishermen. But, you know, if I go out and do what I need to do, then it'll be okay. But, you know, I can't fumble the ball, just like you said. I got to go out and catch some fish. But if I do that, everything will fall in place.
Guys, I am going to give it back to you, and obviously we are going to have a great race here. Davey, it's going to be fun watching you catch these fish. I can hardly wait to see how you're doing it.
It is fun out there. It really is. I mean, even with a little bad weather this morning, I think the fish are just going to bite better, and it's going to be great.
Okay, guys, take it away here.
Well, we are ready to go. Before we get started, another look at our playing field. Clarks Hill Lake, also known as J. Strom Thurmond Reservoir. Everybody in Georgia calls it Clarks Hill, and we're going to call it Clarks Hill today. Huge place. Again, the largest man-made reservoir east of the Mississippi. A lot of places to fish, a lot of places for fish to hide, a lot of places for anglers to hide. We got 12 of them on this final day, expecting some heavy weather as well. Showers all over the lake and possible heavy-duty thunderstorms.
The biggest thing you hear about this lake, it fishes big. The guys will say there's plenty of places to hide here. Get away from the other competitors. You're going to notice one thing today. I'm going to hammer this word, the right timing. Pulling up on the right point when these fish come up to feed on one little critter, Sanders, the blueback herring, hitting it at exactly the right time.
All right, Kenyon Hill from Norman, Oklahoma. He had the biggest stringer on the first day of fishing, and he's been behind Davy Hite for the rest of the tournament here. Had a big win back in 2003 on the Alabama River on the old Citgo Bassmaster Tour. He's looking to make it another one here at Clarks Hill.
Well, so far, it's a typical morning. Golly, that was a nice one.
Kenyon Hill says he's playing the run and shoot offense. Explain that one for us, Z.
Well, what he's doing, he is fishing a bunch of different flat points. What I mean is, they're just real gradual drops, okay? And there's not a lot of trace on these points, okay? The biggest thing he's doing, though, is a pencil popper lure. Basically what it is, it's a striper lure catching largemouth.
Oh, just barely had him hooked. Just barely had him hooked. Look at that. Look at the size of that fish. Look at this. Davy, we're even. You don't think, that we fish so much that we don't get excited about big fish? You're wrong. What a fish.
Hey, how about it? Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma's Kenyon Hill with the big shot to start things out.
I guarantee you Davy Hite will have an answer for Kenyon Hill when we come back.
All right, we got Davy Hite on the way, and we'll find out exactly what he's doing. Also, our bass spotter technology. We got a couple of fish that we are following this week, and you won't believe what happened. Stick around.
The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series, Pride of Augusta, is presented by Lowrance and is brought to you by Citgo, Lowrance, Mercury Marine, and Toyota.
The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series, and guess what? We're about to hit one of our major events of the year, the very first major of the season, the Bassmaster Memorial from Fort Worth, Texas, right here in just over a week's time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday night. We will bring you same-day coverage of the final round and weigh-in from Fort Worth. A huge tournament, $250,000 to the winner. Just over 50 anglers have qualified for this one. No entry fee. It is going to be a big, big event. Mark it on your calendar. Don't miss it. Meanwhile, final day's action here at Clark's Hill Reservoir, 5th stop of the year for the Elite Series. We've been following Kenyon Hill. He started the day just behind Davy Hite, and he's working a pencil popper, a topwater.
So it's shaddy, chromey, shaddy, warrior-looking thing.
Different look at things this week. Previously in this series, it's all been about the spawning fish, and that's great. That's like a turkey dinner, but you don't want a turkey dinner every week, and we got something else to look at on the table this time, topwater.
I'm not quite sure what that turkey thing was, but seriously, this whole year, Tommy, every single tournament, we've seen some strange lures. This tournament is no different. That pencil popper right there, it's basically known as a striped bass lure, probably one of the most popular lures ever made to do that. Well, in this tournament, it's the most popular lure for these largemouth. We never see a tournament where guys are throwing topwaters the entire day. We'll see it for maybe the first hour, usually in a tournament. These guys are throwing these from daylight to dark right now.
All right, we're about to get a look at what Davy Hite is using in this tournament. Will it be a topwater? We follow him from the launch a few miles up Clark's Hill Reservoir to a place called Catfish Creek. Davy Hite, who notched his last Bassmaster win about a calendar year ago on Lake Dardanelle in Arkansas, the Elite 50 Series, a second event of 2005 for the Elite 50s.
You'll notice something, though. A lot of these guys are running around, jumping on points. Davy Hite going to one spot and putting up camp.
You know, I've been fortunate. I can remember fishing over here with Federation, that sort of thing, when I dreamed of just being able to fish for a living or to go make one Bassmasters Classic. And here I am fishing the Elite 100 in the world and got a great chance to win this thing, or at least have a real high finish in front of a lot of friends and family and that sort of thing. It'd just be the ultimate.
Not real big, but he's a keeper.
I'm fishing this hump, and the reason fish are here is there's a lot of herring here. The blueback herring are really using this particular hump for some reason. And it's like this is the buffet, and they can't resist themselves. They got to come to the buffet.
These blueback herring are all over this lake. That is the object of their affection. But you'll notice something a little different here, Sanders. Davy Hite is throwing a big jig on him. He is definitely not matching the hatch right now.
Whoa, that's what you call going the right way. Come on in here. He was dying to get in here, wasn't he? Told you things been starting out real slow, so this is a good deal.
Davy Hite, who lives scarcely an hour away from here, in 96, South Carolina, has a lot of experience on Clarks Hill Lake, and he's putting it to good use this week. Now to the man from Missouri. Mark Tucker started this season slow, but he has been gaining momentum. Last time at Guntersville, and here again this week at Clarks Hill. He has made that Elite 12, and another guy who's using a striper topwater lure.
We are not throwing modern topwater lures either. These guys are pulling these baits out of their vault. This guy is throwing a jointed redfin. Tommy, when's the last time you heard a bass caught on a jointed redfin?
I can't recall.
Give me a ballpark guess.
I'm not 3 years.
But the biggest thing I'm learning here is you're not hearing the usual Zara spook, the Pop-R, old school topwaters.
Good morning.
Most definitely a good start to the morning for Mark Tucker, so he tries to keep his momentum going. Now we're going over to Randy Howell. Randy Howell, who had a scramble on day 3, had to catch almost 18 pounds to make it into this Elite 12. He's going to try to get something going early today as well.
Check out the point Randy's fishing right here, where it goes from light to dark. That's the dinner table.
Oh, we just hit it. Get ready. Go. There he is. He got him.
The biggest thing you'll notice at home today is all of these guys are relating to shallow water. They have to be near those feeding flats.
Thing about every one of these places, I know right where they're laying, and I can see them in my mind. I know they're laying right there every time. They don't go nowhere. I finally figured out a lot of times fish move and roam out and come back and forth and chase bait. These don't. They just lay there. The bait swims up there and they can bust them. Oh yeah, look. Oh, they're up there good. There he is, big one. Oh yeah, thank you, Lord. Stay on, baby, stay on. Stay on. A big one. Yes, yeah. He ate it. Ate my red hook. I love it. Did you see him jump over that thing? Thank you, Lord, that's the ones we want. That's a good one right there, boy. That'll get you out of bed.
Randy Howell, almost 18 pounds yesterday. This guy's got the topwater bite figured out.
Definitely. The one thing I'm going to hammer throughout this whole show is the word timing. These guys being at the right place, the right time. When these fish come up and bust, making the exact cast to catch them. This kind of technique can win this event.
All right, we're going to find out. Hey, guess what? It's now Bass Spotter time. Yesterday, we caught up with Jerry McInnes. You know Bass Spotter. We get our 2 bass, we put the radio tags on them, and we follow their actions the days leading up to the tournament and through the tournament. We got a couple of doozies this time around. When we talk to Jerry, of course, the first thing we always want to know is what did he name them this time?
Actually, we're outside of Augusta, Georgia, so we need a bit of a golf theme, don't you think? We're going to call our 2 bass Arnie and Jack this week. And Arnie was caught in the back of Big Branch, 5 miles from the dam, all the way back in the back end of the creek. Caught him a week before the event started in 2 or 3 feet of water on a Cinco. He spent the majority of his time in the back end of that creek up until 2 days before the tournament began. Arnie decided that he would take off, and in one day he went 3/4 of a mile all the way out to the mouth of Big Branch and settled in on a hump that's probably in 12 feet of water and has spent the whole tournament around that hump. Now, guys, think about this. A 2-pounder, that's about his size, 16, 17 inches long, a little machine, and he decides to take off. That's a long swim. That blows my mind, guys.
Now, Jerry, you're talking about that he went that far in a day or two. Now that they're done spawning, he was caught way back in the creek. Isn't he kind of making his way out to where he's going to spend the majority of the summer?
You know what? Our first 4 events were all about water temperature and spawning. And Mark, yeah, well, this is a real transition, I think. We're right in the middle of it now. They're not thinking about water temperature anymore. They're thinking about food. And they're thinking about right here on this reservoir, they're talking about blueback herring. My guess is that he got on the trail of a school of those bait fish. He followed them across the main part of the lake and onto that hump.
Tommy, that's amazing to me. That fish has swam over a mile in a couple days. I haven't gone more than a mile for like a year.
You would for blueback.
As long as the oily goodness was in my mouth.
You would do it. Trust me, you would do it. Kenyon Hill, Davy Hite have got it tied up here. And what's coming up for Davy Hite? Well, a slew of problems. How serious are they? We're about to find out.
It feels a lot better. Let's just put 1 in there. I'm gonna just try to do that for now. Hang out for a little while if you don't mind.
The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series. This is it, the pride of Augusta on Clarks Hill Lake. Clarks Hill Lake, close to world-famous Augusta, Georgia, home of the internationally famous Masters Golf Tournament. And you know what? It's a known fact that most pro golfers would rather be fishing. I'm sure we've got some of them watching today as Kenyon Hill and Davy Hite are tied on this final day of competition. 8 hours of fishing on this final day. Highest 4-day wait when it's all said and done wins the $100,000 first prize. And Mark Zona, we're going out to Davy Hite right now.
Yeah.
Davy Hite with a few technical difficulties. A good crowd there, but right now they're watching him work on his stuff.
This is not how you want your day to start when you're leading a Bassmaster Tour event. I can tell you right now, this is where the wheels would come off in Zona's boat, okay? Complete meltdown, I would collapse. But by the help of Danny Vasquez, technical guy from MotorGuide, they're gonna have this fixed in about 5 minutes. Davey will be back up and down, but he's got to keep his rhythm.
It feels a lot better. Let's just put one in there. I'm gonna just try to do that for now.
I think Danny's got him fixed up. Davy Hite may be well back on his way. You can't say enough good things about these support crews out here. They work so very hard at all hours during these tournaments to keep things going. Now Davy's got to keep things going. You say he's going to have trouble getting his momentum back.
No, really, the biggest thing, you want to keep your rhythm going. The night before a final day, you're trying to envision what's going to happen the next day. You don't see things like that. That's where you got to kind of bounce back.
Back over to Kenyon Hill. Norman, Oklahoma has tied up Davy Hite. Davy Hite came in with the lead. Kenyon had the best stringer on day one. Kenyon Hill working that topwater lure, that pencil popper.
There he is. Oh. Oh no. Oh, he's bow hooked. Hold on, watch out. We're coming aboard. I had two on at a time. At one time I had two bananas. So that's 4. Not necessarily big ones, but that'll work. Throw him in the box. He said, man, there's a giant in there.
Kenyon all fired up about these topwater fish. Yes, sir. We have 2 South Carolinians in this field, this elite field. Davy Hite and this man from Lake Wiley, Jason Quinn.
Here it is, day 4, cut top 12. I'm in 4th place. I feel like I need to catch about a 25-pound bag to have the opportunity to win this tournament. So I've changed it up a little bit. I've come to some areas that I feel like if I get a few bites, they'll be real big bites, and that's what I need to get started with this morning. I feel like the fish are probably going to bite all day long. You'll have opportunity to catch a lot of fish. So I'm just going to try to key in on a couple big fish, not actually where the fish are schooling, but just some big postponed females that have come out here and ready to eat. And I'm throwing a big topwater bait. It's actually made for saltwater, but those fish that are out here on this herring, they can't stand it. We can get us a few big bites first thing and get this thing started right.
We remember Jason Quinn from last year on Lake Norman. The guy did much more boat riding than he did fishing. He'd hit a spot, make 2 casts, and move on.
You know what? I want the people at home to watch something. Right there, he thinks he has on a striped bass. What? Right there, he figured out, oh, wait, hang on. That's the kind I want. It's a big largemouth.
You got it hooked pretty good. I'm going to swing her right on you.
Quinn, the other guy fishing that pencil popper. One of 4 guys fishing the pencil popper on these main lake points. And Jason Quinn, of course, he had a shot at winning the Bassmaster Classic back in 2004 on his home lake and didn't quite get it done on the final day.
That's called getting the bait. There's a perfect example of the fish wants that lure, okay? If the fish is hooked on the outside of the mouth, generally they're just slashing on it. When they engulf it, you're matching the hatch perfectly.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That'll get going. It's 3.5, 3.5, 4.
Tommy, I spent some time with Jason Quinn. He absolutely is one of the best topwater fishermen on the planet.
Quinn, Randy Howell, Mark Tucker all moving up the leaderboard. Let's check in now with our native of Kentucky, Kevin Wirth. Kevin Wirth is having himself a great season this year. Of course, he did very well in South Carolina, made the Elite 12 there too. And Kevin Wirth was the former Kentucky Derby jockey. Kevin Wirth, back in 1981, was astride Mythical Ruler and came in 17th place. And do you know what he received as monetary compensation for that Kentucky Derby ride? $35.
Thank God he's bass fishing.
He's doing a lot better money-wise with his bass fishing, although we all respect his ride in the biggest race in the world.
And here's a surprise, he's throwing a topwater too, Tommy Sanders. Hey, the most amazing thing about Kevin Wirth, every time we see him on the show, he's catching them in a different way. One of the most versatile anglers on tour.
That's what we're looking for, baby. You see him blow on that thing three times, dude. Wow. Yeah. Ooh, baby, baby, ooh, baby, baby. Is that fun or what, man? That gets your heart going, like, and then your nerve right go, man, get it, get it, get it, get it.
Okay, we don't need to see Kevin Wirth dancing, okay? That's something we don't want to see. Hey, man, I got bad hair. You don't see me fixing it, okay?
I'll have a big steaming cup of whatever Kevin Wirth that's having this morning. I think we could hook him up with an espresso sponsorship. Kevin Wirth, though, putting him in the boat. Watch out for this guy.
I want some more of it.
Kevin Wirth on a fishing high this morning.
Guy is a mess.
He's got to go, and watch out for him. He's in third place. When we come back, can Kenyon Hill be run down by Davy Hite? Davy's got his boat fixed. He's ready to start fishing in earnest. And also our bass spotter technology. Jerry McKinnis calling in reinforcements. Jarrett Edwards, elite angler, is going to explain what these bass spotter fish are doing. That's when we return. The name of this tournament is the Pride of Augusta, presented by Lowrance. It's the Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series. This is our 5th stop of the year. We're at Hill Reservoir. Hill, which makes up the border between South Carolina and Georgia, the largest man-made reservoir east of the Mississippi. A lot of places to catch fish, a lot of places to hide and catch them. 12 anglers, the Elite 12, fishing on this final day, trying to run down the leader, Kenyon Hill, get that $100,000 first prize. Man, oh man, it's been a great tournament so far. Showers moving in, moving out, but no one's been affected by that too much. Davy Hite was our leader to start this day. He's had some mechanical trouble, but he is back in business. Is he going to be able to catch Kenyon Hill?
Definitely. You know, right now, Davy Hite is just calling an audible. The jig's been working all week long, but this is where you see the stars shine. He's going to switch to a swim bait and match the herring.
Swim bait. Yeah, I haven't thrown it this week other than in practice, and they didn't bite it as good. And I just tied it on yesterday afternoon thinking about things that in the past I've caught them on here. But yesterday I missed fish for the first time, getting bites that hit my bait and just not wanting to eat it, and I think it's from the fishing pressure. So I tied this bait on last night, which I have a lot of confidence in, but it wasn't producing earlier in the week, but maybe today's a day. Can't think of a better day for it to work.
Sanders, this is where local knowledge pays off right here. He's been catching them on the jig, totally abandons that and goes to a swim bait. Davy has not caught a bass all week long on a swim bait, but he's caught him here in the past on it.
Swim bait. He got the whole enchilada, didn't he? Number 3. We want them to get bigger, but we'll sure take them right now. The neat part about having a lead is I gotta catch fish, they gotta catch big fish.
All right, well, Kenyon Hill's got the lead, as a matter of fact, but Davy's point is well taken. And Davy now getting the swim bait going. That could be a bad omen for the rest of this Elite 12 field, including this man, Jason Quinn, the third-year angler from South Carolina. Already, he's got 8 top 10 finishes, still looking for his first win and doing good today with that topwater bait. But Mark Zona, every one of us who's been out there with the topwater bait in hand has seen a big bunch of fish busting the surface, and you think, hey, all I got to do is throw it out there and I catch them, but it hardly ever works out that way.
It's fun, but at times it's frustrating. There's 2 things I can tell a guy at home if he struggles with topwaters. Number 1, make a long cast. Get that bait away from the boat so the fish have time to stare at it, then bust on it. Now, the second biggest one, just take your eyes off the bait. Get a rhythm going with it, back and forth. When he explodes on it, wait to feel him before you pull the trigger. That's the hardest thing. Just take your eyes off of the bait.
So you're saying if you pull the trigger when you see it hit, you're too early. You're too early. All right, now's a good time to check back with our Bass Spotter technology, where we take the two bass, catch them out of the lake, outfit them with radio transmitters, and then we follow their movements in the days leading up to the tournament and through the tournament. Got a couple of doozies this time around, and Jerry McInnes, to help interpret the results, has called in the big guns. Jared Edwards, the Elite Series pro, is going to help us figure out what's going on with our two fish, Jack and Arnie.
Hey, I am going to talk to you about Jack here in just a second, but I want to ask you, Jared. I had a guy make the comment yesterday that watching each week and seeing how far these fish move, which surprises me.
Amazing.
He said, well, that just falls right in the hands of the guys that fish real fast, like Kevin Van Dam. He's moving, he's blah, blah. And I said, no, that's not right. Stay right where you're at and wait for them to come to you. I guess, who knows? How do you get in sync?
You know, it's definitely a timing issue, being able to pull up at the right area, right time. You know, this week's all about following the bait fish and their movements. Naturally, we have a lot of spawning with the bait fish, so the fish are traveling along with them. But as you said, does an angler sit and wait them out, or does he keep point hopping and trying to catch them? You know, that's an interesting question. To me, if you're on the right school of bait fish that are spawning, consistently you're going to be able to catch those fish day after day.
And so you're saying, look for the bait fish and not the bass.
Without a doubt, the bait fish is the key deal. We all know you can have the best fisherman in the world, put him in a lake with no fish. Obviously, he's not going to catch them. On this lake right now with the bait fish spawning, you can have some of the best bass anglers out there. If they're not around the bait fish, they're not catching bass.
Well, I tell you what, we are good. Jared, I am going to look in on old Jack here. He was also caught, like Arnie, he was caught in Big Branch, only it wasn't as far back down in the creek. He was caught on a little finesse worm a week before the tournament started. Spent a couple of days right on that same bank after he was turned loose, and then moved across to the other side and has actually spent the rest of his time up and down that bank. But right here is where he was on that second day before the tournament started, which tells us he was right in the path of Arnie, who was coming from the back. Remember, Arnie moved almost a mile out to the mouth. So what's really interesting here is that fish, Arnie and Jack were together at some time. They had to see each other, which is kind of appropriate for this area, for Arnie and Jack to be together.
One swimming by saying, Senko, spinnerbait.
But seriously, folks, what have we learned from the Bass Spotter technology zone?
You know, in all honesty, when you go fishing, some days you'll have a good day and you're like, man, I got them figured out. When I look at the information that Jerry's given us, we know nothing about them.
We really don't. We really don't. But we're learning little bits. Maybe we can put the puzzle together someday. Also trying to put together the puzzle today is Randy Howell.
Oh, here we go. There he is. Yeah. Another big one. I think it's one. Oh, there jumping. Yeah. Woo. I ate my pencil popper. Gerald Swindle said somebody gonna have to hold me. Did you see that, boy? That's a 5-pounder right there. Straight up. Ooh, Lord. That's what you catch up with right there. Oh my goodness.
Randy Howell trying to run down the leaders here. We look back on this season so far. We've seen some great moves on the last day, including Fred Rubanis there at Amistad, and last time at Lake Guntersville, Gerald Swindle 9th all the way to 5th.
Today, that man is Randy Howell from 11th, tied for 3rd right now.
When we come back, the Hill Reservoir battle continues. Who will prevail? And the thing that makes the world go round, the bait fish that makes it happen on Clark's Hill, the blueback herring, a better look when we return.
Yeah. Did you see that, boy?
The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series, grab your calendar and write down this date. We got a big event coming up. May 21st, that's a week from next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the very first Bassmaster Elite Series Major of the Year. The Bassmaster Memorial coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas. We will have same-day coverage of the final round and weigh-in coming to you from there on Eagle Mountain Lake, and the final round there, the 6-hole course round on Lake Wirth there in the Fort Worth area. It's going to be exciting stuff. $250,000 So the winner of that one and our field of just over 50 is all set. We'll tell you about that a little bit later. Right now, the rest of the field in our Elite 12, starting with Mike Iaconelli, came into this event with all the momentum. Down at Lake Guntersville, he got the win last time around, but kind of slow today.
John Cruz, man. I thought, you know what, after they get done spawning, we might not see John for a tournament or two. Very next tournament where they're not spawning, he's here.
Great year for John Cruz. Ditto for Jeff Reynolds. He's made the cut in each and every Elite Series event this year, and this is his second appearance in the Elite 12.
The big dog, Peter T. And you know what? You knew we were going to see Peter T on the final day. You know who Peter's roommate is?
Huh?
A lot of love. Kenyon Hill, man.
Love is information. Jared Lintner, the first time for him in our Elite 12. He's made a couple of cuts this year for this angler in his rookie season out of Arroyo Grande, California. And Gary Klein. What about this guy? You think he's licking his chops? You think he can wait till we get out there to basically his backyard and get after it with the Bassmaster
if you're
Memorial
down
there in the Fort Worth
Texas,
area.
look Z up.
I'll do that. What's he fishing with here
Well,
today?
he's fishing a shaky head, and you know what? He's the only guy we've not seen throwing a topwater, but I'll have you know, the first 3 days, that is all he caught him on. The cloud cover, though, he was concerned with. The clouds rolled in, went to finesse fishing.
I think we got trouble. We got trouble here. Oh,
good.
man, Gary Klein has drug his knee across one of those crankbaits laying on the deck.
Actually, Tommy, it is
Oh.
a topwater bait right there, and I'm going to tell you something. I did that once in band camp. Not good, man. That is
Those
a
things-
lot of pain.
Those things are just a wad of rotating hooks, aren't they?
But in seriousness, that one right there is dug in extra deep, too.
That is painful. Will Gary Klein be able to fish on? That's rough right there.
First time in my career I've ever had a hook past the barb, ever.
You know, Sanders, all joking aside, that right there is the last thing you want to have happen on the final day of an event for 100 grand.
If that was me, I'd just keep laying in that position until they trailered the boat and took me to the emergency room. And did you hear Gary? First time in his career he's ever sunk a hook in himself past the barb. That's a 30-year career. Very remarkable. Now, back to Kenyon Hill. Started with the lead on this tournament on the first day of competition. Came into this final day trailing Davy Hite. Well, right now, he's got a 1.5 pound lead over Hite, and he can add to it right now. He's got a hookup.
Yeah, of course, I got you hooked. Little peanut. Come here. In the boat. Yeah, you swallow it.
Like the peanut well enough to put him in the box. Kenyon Hill is
Yeah,
now
you can go back
2.5.
on the
Yeah, he's going in there. Kenyon Hill now ahead of Davy Hite by 2.5 pounds right now. You, meanwhile, have been scrambling, putting together all the lures that are out there on the lake today. Good job.
I'm the guy that runs around the parking lot.
You are the guy. You are that guy they talk about. Let's first embrace the pain. Look at what Gary Klein is wearing this morning.
There it is, Lucky Craft gunfish in his knee right now, stuck in. And the most amazing thing was how calm Gary was. You literally didn't hear a word come out of his
Just
mouth.
doesn't want to move because it hurts so much.
Exactly.
Right?
Now, the one thing I'm going to say about this tournament, we will probably never see this many topwater baits ever account for making it to the final day.
Really?
And it truly shows how good of a topwater lake that we're on. We'll never see this for the next year or two.
But our leader after 3
Right.
days, different story, right?
Check this out. Our leader after day 3, Davy Hite, throwing a brown jig right there, throwing this jig at busting fish. And I looked at him, I said, Davy, that doesn't look a thing like what these fish are eating. And
It's
he said,
the opposite of that.
in this part of the country, that big broom jig, that big mop-looking jig, he said, something triggers those fish to bite that more so than anywhere else in the
But that one's on the bench now, early
Exactly.
today. Yeah.
Exactly. He already laid it down. That was his go-to bait, and he's gone to a storm swim bait, a 5-inch swim bait. And right here, the biggest thing accounting for wins on tour is knowing when to lay down the bait that got you to the final day and say, you know what, switching gears, I'm totally doing something different.
All right, he's got the swim bait on right now. Back out to Davy Hite.
When they're active and they're really, feeding on those fish, on those herring, you got to be right there. You got to be right there. The fish are here. I mean, they've been here, and they just, something triggers them when the, something triggers them and they bite my bait, hopefully.
There we go.
Woo! Number 5.
Now the confidence is building. Davy Hite has his limit. He may start pouring it on the other 11 anglers.
Good one, babe. It's on, son. When they biting this thing like this, So they hadn't been biting it, but it goes back to, in years past, I've caught them on it. I just had the confidence to tie it on back on today and try it. There was one.
Oh, wait.
All right, Davy Hite with the limit. If this fish is bigger than the smallest fish in his live well, he can swap them out. It's called culling. Let's take a look at what he's got right here. He acts like it's a big one. Oh, that one will do it right there. He'll take the lead with that.
I'm liking my chances. Beautiful Clark Hill bass. Thank you. That's gonna be a nice swap there.
Very nice swap again. Davy Hite now with the lead. He's regained it from Kenyon Hill. It's up to Kenyon Hill to bounce back and catch Davy Hite. There's a little more fishing on the way, but a limited time for these guys to get their damage done. And Gary Klein done a little damage to his knee. Will he be able to fish on? We'll find out when we get back.
Oh, it just happens to be a 1/0 2X Gummy. I know it was sharp.
Twelve anglers left in competition on this final day. Cinco Bassmaster Elite Series, the Pride of Augusta is the name of the tournament. We're on Clark's Hill Lake on the border between Georgia and South Carolina. We started with 100 of the best anglers in the world. We're down to this Elite 12. And right now it's Davy Hite and Kenyon Hill slugging it out on Clark's Hill. What a battle we've had all day long. Kenyon Hill trying to catch Davy Hite right now. Davy is in the command position with the 3-pound lead. We just had a great weigh-in yesterday for our co-angler winner. That winner was Harold Halcomb of South Carolina, 24 pounds and 8 ounces. And as the rain begins to pelt down, we watch Kenyon Hill doing his best to catch our leader.
I'm definitely pulling for Kenyon to catch some right now, but he is up against the best closer in the business. Davy Hite, probably the biggest home run hitter in professional fishing. When he connects with the ball, Sanders, nobody hits it further.
Kenyon Hill looking for his first win with the Bassmaster since 2003. Davy Hite won 1 calendar year ago and really challenged in the next tournament, but for him it's been a struggle until we reach the month of May. And Kenyon Hill is culling now. He's going to have a hard time making up that weight.
He's culling, but the biggest problem right now, he's not culling the right size bass to win this.
See, it's about 1 o'clock. Weather still sucks. Fishing's not much better. I feel if I can get 2 big bites right now, I'd still have a shot at it. I think fishing's gonna be tough today.
Jason Quinn, his nickname's Hardware. You can probably figure that one out for yourself. One of the guys trying to run down our leaders here, but Jason's problem, he started probably too far back on this final day. He's 7 pounds behind right now. Gonna need a major miracle to catch up. Jason, who lives in South Carolina, Lake Wiley, where we had the Classic in 04, and where we will return this year for the second major.
Jason's got a major league milk run going here. You know, we talk about Kevin Van Dam as being a big-time run and gunner, fishing as many spots as you can. Jason Quinn is the definition of that. He will hit as many spots as he can to eventually connect with a school of bass.
Some people would reply to you, Mark Zona, and say, wouldn't you be just as effective sitting in one place, waiting for these blueback herring to come where you are, and then catch the bass? Just stay in one place, let the world go by you?
They'd reply, but they'd be wrong right there, Sanders.
All right. From Jason Quinn, well, here's a guy who's doing just that. He's been pretty much planted in the same place all day long. Davy Hite had some tough going at the start of the day, but he got that swim bait going and turned things around.
Honestly, when I was about 12, 13 years old, I started fishing tournaments at that age, and I just dreamed of being a full-time pro that far back. The Larry Nixon, Denny Breyer, Rick Clunn, Roland Martin, Guido Hibden, all those kind of guys were guys that I read about and dreamed that I could be like them. But it was one of those dreams that's kind of like when you're a kid dreaming of being an NFL quarterback. I really didn't think it was a realistic goal or dream. That'll help. Until I got about probably 21 and had, was fishing a lot of local tournaments, Federation, Redmans, that sort of thing. And, really started getting a fever more and more and kind of started setting goals and trying to line things up where I'd be able to fish professionally one day, or at least try to. That's the one I need, baby. To be totally honest with you, I was scared to take that step and to quit my job and, with a wife and at that time one child. I was scared to make that move myself.
And my wife, I had to say, she really encouraged me to go on and try it because she knew that it had been a dream of mine forever. And I guess that was the defining moment when she said, Davy, you need to go do it and go try it, because it turns out she had more confidence in me than I had in myself. Had a bad. Woo! That's what needed the help. Woo! That one will definitely. It's crazy, you know. At the end of the third quarter, I had a 2-touchdown lead, and with very little time remaining, I don't have a clue if I'm still leading or getting my tail kicked. But that's the thing about our sport. You have to give it 110% all the way to the end, because you don't know. I mean, you can't back off. You don't go into prevent defense, or you don't go into a conservative offense or burn the clock kind of deal. That clock always stays the same, and you don't know if you're getting your tail kicked or if you're winning. Was it donk, donk, or donk, donk?
Oh, it's easy to grin when you got this thing in your back pocket. Davy Hite has done it. He's put this one away on Clark's Hill.
Was it donk, donk?
Donk, 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 I think it was.
Donk.
We'll make it official, get all the weights coming in, and preview the Bassmaster Memorial coming up when we return. Don't go away.
Beautiful Clark Hill bass.
The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series, Pride of Augusta, is presented by Lowrance and is brought to you by Citgo, Lowrance, MotorGuide, and Purelator.
We're back, everyone. Believe it or not, is relatively dry, and we're ready to go with the weigh-in. Here at Clark's Hill, Wildwood Park, and a good crowd on hand. Jared Lintner crosses the stage. Also, Peter Thilveros, Gary Klein, Mark Tucker. Mike Iaconelli falls short on this final day, as does John Cruz. But Randy Howell, with that great catch, 17 pounds, 12 ounces, takes over the hot seat with Jeff Reynolds of Oklahoma coming to the weigh-in stand.
He needs 14 pounds and an ounce to move to the top of the leaderboard. 9 pounds, 14 ounces, and
Jeff Reynolds of Oklahoma, another angler having a great season, pretty much picking up where he left off last year, but a disappointing final day, 9 pounds and 14 ounces. Jason Quinn from Lake Wiley, South Carolina, the only other angler in this field besides Hite, who could be said to have home lake knowledge.
Jason Quinn looking for 13-10, 15-12, gets it done.
Next up, the former Kentucky Derby jockey who started the day 9.5 pounds behind leader Davy Hite. Here's Kevin Wirth.
13 pounds and 5 ounces will put you on top. 12-6 keeps you shy. Number 2.
Kevin Wirth fades a little bit in the stretch on this final day. 12 pounds, 6 ounces. It's still Jason Quinn with the lead. Kenyon Hill, the first day leader, needs 10 pounds, 15 ounces to take over the lead from Quinn, and he gets it with 13-3. Kenyon Hill with 62 pounds, 3 ounces, the only one standing in the way of Davy Hite steamrolling this field and winning at Clark's Hill. Now it's Davy Hite's turn, the former Classic champ, ready to add another win in his Bassmaster career.
6:15 for the lead for Davy Hite.
He needs 6 pounds, 15 ounces.
15 pounds, 11 ounces.
And he's got it. 15 pounds, 11 ounces for Davy Hite. You can call him Mr. May. He's your champ of the Pride of Augusta at Clark's Hill.
What do you say, ladies and gentlemen? Davy Hite makes it 7 bass wins. And gets it done right here, as close to home as you could possibly get.
This is more special to me than any tournament I've ever won because it's so close to home. I had 31 boats follow me yesterday, and today the lightning got so bad I didn't want to be out there. And I was fishing for $100,000, and there was people out there watching me, and it just hung right in there, so it was awesome.
Davy Hite may be the best front runner ever with the Bassmaster.
Davy is one of the superstars of the sport. He has virtually won every single title there is to win. And one big thing, if you're one of Davy Hite's competitors, don't let this guy get on a roll going into summer.
He's also Mr. May. 3 Bassmaster tournaments he's won in the month of May. The rest of that leaderboard, other guys having great days. Jason Quinn from right here in South Carolina. Randy Howell, a good day as well. And some other names who didn't make our Elite 12. Your buddy, KVD, what happened?
Well, Kevin had a little mechanical failure on day 3, lost his weight. kind of a disappointed day for him.
This year it has been feast or famine for Takahiro Omori. Famine this week at Clarks Hill, 92nd place for Tak.
Let's check out the Citgo Angler of the Year standings right now. Look at our guy, Mike Iaconelli, kind of creeping away from the pack. Greg Hackney, second place right now.
Toyota Rookie of the Year, it's all about Stephen Kennedy. Of course, he's making the big run for Angler of the Year, so watch out for Stephen Kennedy.
Blowing that away. Let's check out the Busch Shootout right now. No entries from Clarks Hill. The number 10 weight right now, Mike Iaconelli from Gunnersville, 22 pounds, 1 ounce.
Speaking of Gunnersville, I gave you the wrong figure from Gunnersville. Our Pure Later Big Bass from Gunnersville was a co-angler. Albert Hudson with 8 pounds and 7 ounces here. Another co-angler, the Pure Later Big Bass, was David Clark with 7 pounds and 14 ounces.
Toyota Horizon Award right now, the most improved from last year. Denny Brower owning that was in 113th place at the end of last year. Right now, 8th place.
And you know what? We are going to be back at this desk in a little over a week's time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, next Sunday, right here. Final round coverage, same-day coverage, and the weigh-in of the very first Elite Series major, the Bassmaster Memorial from Eagle Mountain Lake in Fort Worth, Texas. We are looking forward to that. 250 grand to the winner.
Going to be a great show. Let's shut it down, and we'll see you next week.
One more thing, just one more tiny thing, the fantasy scoreboard. Oh, my goodness. Look at it. Can you believe? This looks like a runaway.
Your constant taunting and hazing of me on this show.
Okay.
It's never ending, Sanders.
I tell you what, why don't we just make it all well? Give us your sleeper pick for the Memorial. Give it to us right now.
Doesn't matter who I pick. You know what? I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going with my friend Charlie Hartley from Ohio. Huh?
That's a good pick. I already made that pick myself. We'll see how it works out. We'll see you next time, next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time for the Bassmaster Memorial.
Woo! I'm liking my chances. Woo!
Just barely had him hooked. Just barely had him hooked. Look at that.
A big one. Yeah. Yeah. He ate it.
Woo! This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to Bassmaster.com.
Beautiful Clark Hill bass.